Hi, I'm Trevor Johnson, the Executive Chef of the Lab Kitchen, and welcome to the next recipe in our Mother's Day series. This is our coconut and cinnamon espresso pancakes. So I love this recipe because it is decadent and it is celebratory, but it's also a little healthy. In this bowl we have our dry ingredients, which instead of normal flour, I'm using oat flour, which is far lower in calories and far higher in fiber, but also gives the same amount of texture and body that you want in a pancake. It gives it that nice fluffy texture. Also in here I have coconut sugar, which is a great alternative to white or brown sugar. It has a nice caramel aftertaste and it's also lower in calorie. And also I have espresso powder and cinnamon and baking powder and salt. So I'm just gonna give all of these dry ingredients a real good whisk. So we've got our dry, and our wet is going to be 2 eggs with a splash of vanilla, as well as 240 grams of whole buttermilk. Give that a whisk as well. Whenever you're baking or like a cake or muffins, pancakes, you always want to add your wet into your dry mix, so that way it better incorporates. You don't have to worry about flour or flour not reaching the bottom of the bowl. So I'm just gonna add this in. Another benefit of using oat flour and having this gluten-free pancake batter is you don't have to worry quite as much about over-mixing and leading to tough, chewy pancakes. You still want to mix a little gently though, because mixing this way, this nice scooping method that I'm doing, helps to build a fluffy interior for your pancake. Just kind of break up those clumps a little bit on the top and then get a bit of a nice wrap around with your spatula. So at this point, and don't worry if it's not perfectly mixed because we still have more mixing to do. At this point is when you want to add your butter normally, but instead of butter, I'm using coconut oil, which has some of the same properties as butter. You can see it's even solid at room temperature, but once melted down, it can be used as a high smoke point oil for searing steaks or anything, and is also a good dairy-free alternative for cakes and pancake batter. So I've got this melted coconut oil. I'm just going to spoon it in. And just give this a nice, gentle but thorough mixing until everything is combined. You can kind of press down with your spatula a little bit. That'll help incorporate the oil a little faster. And that is our oven coming up to 350 degrees, which we will use to prepare our garnishes for these lovely pancakes. So you can see here now my batter is nice and incorporated. There's no more pockets of oil. It's a nice homogeneous mixed pancake batter. So what we're gonna do now is just let this sit for a couple minutes, give the baking powder a little chance to start the rising process. And while we're doing that, I've got a sheet pan lined with foil, and I've just got about a half a cup of shredded coconut. And I'm gonna toast this on 350 degrees. And this is gonna be a nice crunchy garnish on our lovely pancakes. Another thing I can do is start the process of cooking our pancakes. So you want to use either a non-stick pan or a griddle, whichever you have. I have a non-stick. You want to start heating at a medium-high heat. While that is heating up, we can start on our sauce. So our sauce is going to be a mixture of coconut cream, chocolate, maple syrup. And usually when you're making a chocolate sauce, you have whole chocolate pieces. We're using dark chocolate, so it's a little healthier. It's got lots of antioxidants, and also tastes delicious because it's chocolate. But usually when you make a chocolate sauce, you use some kind of heavy cream or butter. But using the coconut cream kind of gives us the same properties as both, and we'll end up with a similar looking textured sauce. So I've got all those things in my pot, and I'm just gonna put this on the lowest setting. We just want that to melt very slowly and very gently. So you can see already how quickly the baking powder works. It already looks a little stiffer. And that's how you know you're gonna have a fluffy pancake, when you have a stiff batter. It shouldn't really look like a brownie batter or very liquidy. That stiffness is what helps give the pancake structure. So make sure you're checking your coconut periodically. It shouldn't take more than a few minutes. While it's doing that, we can start frying these up. So like I said before, coconut oil is also great for sauteing and searing. So I'm just gonna get about a tablespoon of that melted. But actually, the great thing about pancakes is that you really don't need any fat if you're using a good non-stick surface. The fat really only contributes to texture, and it helps brown a little faster. It gives it a nice crisp exterior. But if you want those classic diner-looking pancakes that have that nice smooth brown surface, those are achieved by using no oil. We're going to give our pan about a minute to heat up here. Also, whenever you're making something in batches like this, make sure you have a landing surface of some kind. Our landing surface is going to be a plate because we want to eat these immediately. And just remember to give your chocolate a little stir every now and then. The reason chocolate makes such a terrific base for sauces and syrups is because it's what's called an emulsifier. An emulsifier is something that mixes two things that don't normally mix. Like you put Dijon or any kind of mustard in a salad dressing, or you use egg yolk to make Caesar dressing. So the chocolate is going to emulsify the liquid and the fat from the coconut cream into a nice, cohesive, creamy sauce. So we're just gonna put a little scoop of our batter in, just to test. So you've got some nice bubbling going on there. Another thing you want to be wary of is, since these are gluten-free pancakes, the batter is going to be a lot more delicate. They'll still have a very similar texture in the end, but as you're turning and flipping them, you just want to be a little extra careful so you don't break them. Because we don't have any of that gluten development, that same kind of base structure that we get from wheat flour. So I'm just gonna I think we're ready to start frying. Just give our coconut a quick check. Nice little stir. See how it's starting to get a little brown, a little golden there. Let's probably got a couple more minutes. So I find I'm doing this freehand, but if you want a more exact pancake, I find that a quarter scoop leads to a perfectly sized pancake. I've just made so many pancakes that I've got a pretty good idea of what that looks like without the scoop. So if you're using a 8-inch pan like I have, you don't want to do any more than 3 at a time. You want to give them room to breathe, room to turn. If you're using a traditional griddle, you can probably fit about anywhere from 10 to 12, depending on the size of your griddle. And while you're letting those pancakes fry, just remember to give your sauce a stir. See how it's coming together? Can't even tell what we put in it, just all looks like chocolate. So this is how I like to turn my pancakes. Just kind of gently move them from side to side. That way, some cooking surfaces heat a little unevenly. And just to account for that, I like to turn the pancakes so that you get a nice golden color all around. Oh, they smell amazing. Combination of that cinnamon and the espresso, it's gonna be great with that chocolate sauce. That is what perfect toasted coconut looks like. So we're just gonna let this hang out and cool while we finish the rest of our pancakes. So when you want to try to flip a pancake, what you're looking for is going to be bubbles that are coming to the surface. You see they start a little tiny right there. This one right there. And that's how you know that rise is happening. The baking soda is doing its job, the baking powder. Just want to give it a nice flip. And as soon as you flip your pancakes, turn the heat down just a little bit. One of the things that leads to great pancakes is heat control. So you want to make sure, especially if you're using an electric stove, the heat changes a little more slowly. So you want to make sure that you get a nice, even golden color, but that you don't overcook the outside before the inside is finished cooking through. And just keep stirring that beautiful sauce. Looks like it's just about done here. Another way to test for doneness with a pancake is to find the thickest point and just kind of give it a little push. It should be nice and springy. See how this one's a little bigger? It doesn't spring back as quickly. But that one's almost done. So while we wait for those, in a mixing bowl, I'm going to take a shredded coconut, and I'm going to toss it with a little cinnamon. Just to complement the cinnamon in the pancake batter. Now our pancakes should be ready to go. Before you plate them, just make sure you check the bottom, that it's nice and even golden, just like the top is. They should both match. And then just rinse and repeat for the rest of your batter. So, plating. Got our pancakes. Make sure you give your sauce a taste. That is good. It might need a little more maple syrup or a little pinch of salt. Some people don't really like the taste of the bitterness that dark chocolate brings. I happen to love it. So, I'm just gonna take a nice spoon here and just a nice, generous Mother's Day drizzle. Top it with our nice crunchy coconut. And there you have it. Cinnamon espresso pancakes with a dark chocolate coffee sauce that are gluten-free. And you won't even miss it.